Hey YouTube, JGreen302. I think this one we're going to call Lies and Deception. I'll send this out to G-Man, who actually requested. This one is not easy. This is about the shooting up in Connecticut. You've seen 1,000 reports. You've seen the knee-jerk reactions. You've seen the people. I've seen tons of little YouTube clips of people screaming and hollering and lots of emotion and see, I told you, and they're going to take all our guns and all these assumptions, stretching the truth, fitting their vision of what it is they want to push. I don't watch TV. Got one right there. It's on pause with PlayStation. Haven't watched football. Used to be a huge football fan. It's the only thing I ever cared about. Don't watch football anymore. Don't want the commercials. Don't want to hear somebody telling me about FedEx Field, Lincoln Financial Field, every time they refer to where the hell the game is being played. Don't need the repetition, don't need the brainwashing, won't do it. So I read. Therein lies another catch-22. I read a whole bunch of crap, and most of it's lies. Twisted manipulation of truth. Things that are massaged to fit the viewpoint of the presenter. So I look, I listen, I wait. So, with that fundamental understanding, let's get into it. Right now, the whole world remembers the Arizona movie shooting as the one guy that went in and shot all those people. And the only thing that they remember is that weird-looking guy in that orange jumpsuit with that, I don't know how to describe it, that psychotropic, spaced-out look. Something that has only been matched by Hollywood in their rendition of the Joker. It was that over the top. Sandy Brook is going to go down as the whacked-out kid that went and got an AR Bushmaster and went in and killed all those kids. That's what's fixed in everybody's mind. The media has fixed that. They've moved on. They're done. They've programmed you. They got the story in your head. Well, let's check our story. So the story is that this kid got up in the morning, lost his mind, went over to his mother's house, killed her, took her guns, her ammo, loaded everything up, put it in her car, drove her car over to the school. And there were lots of reports, but basically, and he went in there and shot everybody up and then killed himself. For the most part, this is what everybody remembers. So, what happens when you listen very closely to the actual radio traffic from start to finish of the incident, without the help of CNN, Fox, MSNBC, analyzing it for you and then giving you what you need? Well, here's a couple of gems. The shooting was going on when the police call came in. It starts with, we're at the school, blah, blah, blah. The shooting, we're hearing it in the hallways right now. This call goes out to the radio. Within 120 seconds, police arrive on the scene. It's already over. It's already over. And yet, there are reports of seeing two shadows along the gym, of reports of armed individuals who are prone, and reports from officers chasing somebody in the woods. There's also video of the officers chasing somebody down in the woods. There's at least two other shooters. How is it that the media doesn't report this? Who were those shooters? Reports are that they were armed with shotguns and long guns, but you hear nothing about them. No evidence. Why? Magically, nobody knows about these other two shooters. It's always a lone gunman. Why is it a lone gunman? If there's three shooters, that means three people were involved in this, and it was coordinated, which means it was planned, which means this lone gunman concept goes out the door. Here's another little tidbit. There's an actual ABC News report. At the mother's house, this kid took the time to disassemble the PC, find the hard drive, pull it out, and either a hammer or screwdriver physically destroy that hard drive. I mean, he's whacked out, he's lost his mind, he's in a rage, right? I mean, he just killed his own mother in cold blood, shot her in the head a couple of times. But no, he has to stop and he's got to pull the hard drive out and destroy it. Isn't that bizarre? That's really bizarre, especially since he's hauling ass over to the school to shoot. And a lot of time, is there? How about this little tidbit? Who is this boy's daddy? Well, his daddy happens to be in the GE capital funds. And reports are that apparently he's tied to the Lipper scandal. For those of you who are not aware of that Libor scandal, Libor, I think is, Libor, it's only a $40+ trillion fraud conducted by the banks. 40 trillion, folks. Makes our national debt and the crisis that we're in look like a goddamn joke. You don't hear too much about that. But apparently this boy's daddy was tied in with that whole thing. Apparently he was supposed to testify. So Daddy has some information on the banksters. Daddy's little boy goes crazy and kills his mama and magically destroys a hard drive that she has so that no data can be recovered. Who wanted that data hidden? What was on that hard drive? Was the kid really worried about anything on that hard drive? And then, of course, he was the lone gunman. And as you all know, within days, legislatures are up in arms. That Feinstein congressman out in California, we're writing an assault gun ban right now, and we're going to introduce it the moment we get into session. Yeah, and you're the same stupid bitch that has a concealed weapons permit. Who are you fucking kidding? Obama was on the news today. We're going to set up a, gun panel. We're going to do this, and and they're already past this. It's all about those assault weapons. Okay. Let's do a little fact check. If you actually look at the real reports, 4 pistols were found inside the school. 4 pistols. Assault rifle wasn't used in the shooting. It's a key fact there, folks. There's video of them going into the trunk of the car and finding, quote-unquote, the assault rifle. The assault rifle that sat in the trunk and did nothing. What's really interesting is the shootings occurred around 9:30 in the morning. And the video showing them finding the assault rifle in the trunk of the car after hearing, assault rifles killed all these kids. Well, there wasn't any assault rifle involved. But when they open the trunk, it's dark. So they find the assault rifle after 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. Lies and deceptions. None of the facts are being reported to you. What you thought you understood and what really seems to be going on are two completely different stories. They're moving on with assault weapons bans. People are refusing to sell guns. A lot of things are happening, all assault ban related. But the reality is, no assault rifle was used. It was found in the trunk of the car 7 hours after the shooting. Gets more interesting. How is it the coroner goes on the TV and tells everybody they were long rifle bullet wounds? Well, really? Excuse me, Mr. Coroner. 4 handguns were found in the school involved in the shooting, and it's called the inconvenience thing. What's it called? Oh, crime scene evidence. So, if there's no long gun shell casings and no long guns involved, how can you report that the kids were shot with assault rifles? Who's bullshitting who, folks? I don't have an agenda. I'm just looking at it. This is me going, well, wait a minute. If only handguns were used, how could they be saying assault rifles? If they didn't find the assault rifle until 7-8 hours later because it was dark when they looked in the trunk, how could they report it? If there's no .223 shell casings, almost immediately when you look at the crime scene, while you're looking for the shooter, one glance will tell you 9mm, 40 cal, 45. Oh, look, .223 shell casings. Every cop on that scene knew whether or not a long gun was involved. The first 3 seconds they looked. So only 4 pistols were found. They report assault rifles. Everything's going, assault rifle bans, we're going to change the laws, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No assault weapon wasn't used. So what's going on here? Libor, the dude's about to testify against the bankers on a $40 trillion deal. His son goes apeshit and kills a whole bunch of people, and they scream assault rifle. And it's all lies. No kid, all whacked out of his mind, killing, is going to stop and destroy a hard drive. It's completely out of the profile picture. Wait a minute. Remember that Arizona shooting? Yeah, that guy, college student. No job. Managed to wire explosives and propane tanks in his apartment to where it took 3 days for the bomb squad to get in there. 3 days. The dude goes in and by himself shoots up a dark movie theater with tear gas, assault rifles, gas masks on. It's like shooting in the dark and then covering your eyes. And he managed to get in, and he managed to get out, he managed to get all this gear with no money, and, multiple tear gas places where multiple ways to get in, multiple ways to get out. They found him in the car completely undressed out of all of his gear. They found the gear outside the car. He was locked inside the car. They had to bust the glass and then drag him out. So he went in and shot up everybody, and then he came out and he took all of his gear off and he piled it all on the ground. And then he casually got in the car and locked the door and sat there and waited to be caught. And then they found another weapon somewhere like 50, 60 feet down the way. So what did he do? Throw it? Reports of a second individual completely ignored. Conflicting evidence, conflicting information, things that don't make sense. But wait a minute. Who is that boy's daddy? his daddy was the boy that wrote the algorithm that found out about the Libor scam. Isn't that interesting? Why don't they report this? Well, I did see a report on CMSNBC or whatever, the business MSNBC page. And within 24 hours, the executive of CNBC had both of his kids murdered. Now you don't hear anything more about the Libor scam. So every time the Libor comes up, it goes quiet. Anybody involved with testifying or blowing the whistle for the court cases on this, their kids go apeshit, and the assault guns are blamed. Any of you all buying this bullshit? Any of you reading? Any of you taking the time to make sure you've got all the facts? Or do you sit down and you let the 6 o'clock news idiots spoon feed you what you're being told and assume that what you're being told is truth? No assault guns killed any of those children. And it's going to change the laws of this land. And you're buying it? You're going to let this happen? It's a complete fabrication. Something happened there. But at this point, if there's no assault weapon involved and the coroner's lying, let me do some basic thought checks here. Can anybody prove to me any child was actually killed? I know that's a harsh question, but prove to me. Show me the dead body. At least the covered one. Show me a picture of the dead bodies being walked out of the school so I can count. I'd like to just something to validate that. Or how about confirm for me which children died, the names of their family, when the funerals were held, that kind of thing. Confirm for me. Then at least then I might start going, okay, it looks pretty solid that children were actually killed. But at this point, that's how questionable everything is in this, because I've been lied to. The moment you start lying to me here and there, I now have to question everything. And since it's obvious that everybody is in on these lies, including the coroner, including the way the news media is reporting it, the way everybody reports the same bullshit story, even though the facts do not support any of it, question. I would certainly start questioning things, because we've had more shootings like this since Barack Obama's been president than we've had in the last 30 years. It's ridiculous. What are they doing? Why isn't the $40 trillion felony theft by the bankers being noticed, reported on? Why are there so many deaths tied to it? Why don't you hear the news reporting these connections and asking questions? And I'll tell you, you just got to wait. Fox News just reported not 5 minutes ago that an ATF agent's FNH-57 handgun, which he purchased and falsified on the purchase the locations of his, which is a felony, was found at the murder scene of some gal in Mexico. How did the ATF officer's pistol show up at a crime scene? Looks like there's some corrupt motherfuckers out there. And there's a lot of lying going on. And if you're just going to sit there and spoon feed, like a child, the applesauce that they're handing you, forget about it. You're going to stay in battery land and you're never going to wake up. So, G-Man, there's my report. No wild flailing of the arms. No, I'm not upset. I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm just looking at facts and reporting and saying, hey, folks, there's enough here to tell me I'm being bullshitted. To what level I'm being bullshitted? Can't tell you. Could be a lot worse. But I know enough to know when this shit ain't being the truth. And right now it's not. So hopefully this will make you think. Since kids were killed, I'm still thinking. I'm starting to get very concerned that we've got some corrupt people that are doing some corrupt things, and they're willing to kill kids to get it. And if they're willing to kill kids, it's far worse than I ever dreamed. Thanks for listening.